Hi friends, this is Deanna here today, and today we're actually working on one of my favorite hacks. I want to use the cuddle tunic, the bishop sleeves from the cuddle tunic, and put them on the Staycation dress and see just exactly how that's going to look. I think it's going to look amazing and I can't wait to see the results. So let's get to it. I'm going to show you just how easy it is. I've got my pattern all cut up. I've got my middle skirt. I've got my front and back, one pocket, neckband, my bottom tiered. I've got my bishop sleeves and my cuffs. We'll start by putting the back and the front right sides together and sewing the shoulder seam. And we're going to inset that bishop sleeve. So that means that to inset the bishop sleeves means that we're going to sew our sides together right now before we even put the sleeve on. So we'll sew our sleeve together and put it on. So we're going to go sew that up, the shoulders and the sides, but we're also going to go ahead and get our sleeves prepped. To get your sleeve prepped, you could go ahead and grab that bottom and gather it up and attach your cuff if you want to do that first, or if you want to do that after. So if you attach it now, then you can gather up and attach it right now, and then when we sew it together, we'll sew the cuff and the sleeve right sides together, and the cuff will be cut in there. Or you can put the cuff later, it's up to you. I'm going to go ahead with later. I'm going to fold the sleeve halfway, right sides together, and sew that raw edge, the side raw edge. Once the sleeve is sewn, we're going to put in a gathering stitch. There's a mark on our sleeve where the gathering stitch starts and where it ends, and I'm going to put in just a basting stitch right along the top edge because we're going to gather the sleeve to fit into our arm side of our top once we put that top together. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I'm also going to put in a gathering stitch here at the bottom for adding my cuffs. And while I'm at it, I'm going to prep my cuffs by folding them right sides together and sewing that long raw edge. I can also prep my neckband by giving it a memory crease by folding it wrong sides together and creasing that band, and then opening it and pinning those raw edges together, right sides together, and sewing it. To put in a basting stitch, I'm just going with like a size 5 stitch, which is the longest on my machine. And on my bottom of my sleeve, I'm going all the way around to gather that sleeve to fit the cuff. On the top, I'm just going with my marks where it told me to start and stop. Make sure you leave a nice long tail afterwards and beforehand. I know that we don't sew on the wrong side, but the reason why I was doing that is because it's just a basting stitch that we're going to pull later, so it really doesn't matter which way you go through to it. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we're going to pull that gathering stitch at the bottom of our sleeve to match the width of our cuff. So I'm going to grab the bobbin thread and pull on it while I'm gathering that up. And that will give it like that poofy look. Now while I'm doing this right now, I'm gonna answer a couple questions that I usually get about something like this. So the size of my sleeve, I went ahead and used the same size that I used for my dress. So I'm making a size medium because that is the size that I fit into my size chart. And so the sleeves that I have are also a size medium. I am using a double brush poly for this make that I got from Olga's Closet, and really all I gotta do is baste this sleeve on just like I would if it was going to a cuddle tunic. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna fit my cuff right inside here, this gathered edge, so that way it's right sides together with my sleeve edge. And I'm gonna match up where the seam is. And then I'm going to match up all those raw edges right sides together. If you didn't gather it enough, then you keep pulling until you're gathered all the way so that it fits nicely in the cuff. We're gonna do that for both cuffs. Now, obviously you can do it all at different times. You can do the attach the sleeve first, then do the cuffs. You could do the cuffs first and then attach them. I like to kind of set everything up and then go and then do it all at the same time. So that's why you see that I'm doing everything pretty much at the same time. With this sleeve, make sure that the bottom is like the bell shape, the top is the shape that has the arm size shape. As you can see, kind of goes like the armpit area here and it gets taller at the top. This one just goes straight. If you're interested in a closer look at how to sew up the cuddle tunic, we do have a video on our YouTube channel about it. You can check that out and check out that pattern. It's a gorgeous pattern. All right, now that my cuffs are in, we're gonna grab our top of our bodice, and we're going to grab our sleeve, and I'm gonna turn it right side out. And here is my gathered section. I can mark where the top of my sleeve is so that I know exactly where that is. Our sleeve tells us what is the back and what is the front, our pattern piece, so make sure that you follow that guide. And what we're going to do is we're going to match the seam, the armpit seam, and we're gonna match the top seam, the top, not the seam, where I marked the top. And then what we're going to do is we're going to match up all the way from the seam to where we start our gathering. So that's gonna go straight together. But then we're going to gather our sleeve to fit. So I'm gonna pull here at my gathering stitch until my sleeve fits nicely where I need it to fit. So, I mean, it's not a whole lot of gathering that you have to do, but it's a little bit of gathering. And I like the gathering to be more towards the shoulder. So I'm gonna pull those stitches that gather more towards the shoulder. So I have more of a gathered little poofy shoulder. And then I'm gonna pin and we'll sew it on. We're gonna do the same on the other side. So I go from one side first, and then I'm gonna do the same on the other side so they're even. And then I'm gonna go and do it on the other sleeve as well. So these videos are more for inspiration on different ways that you can hack your patterns and everything like that. And I know they're more fast paced on the make and how I work with them. It's just a quick sew with a quick hack sew. So if you do want more details on how to sew these individual patterns, please check out our other video tutorials or full video tutorials that go more step by step on how this is all done. We also have really great tutorials on how to do certain things like neckbands or like hemming or gathering with elastic, with clear elastic, which I'll be doing for this dress. So please check those videos out if you have any extra questions about how to do them, because I do go kind of fast on this video. All right, so you can go ahead and sew that sleeve on, or like me, I'm gonna go ahead and get my neckband prepped so we can do everything at the same time. I'm doing this scooped neckband because I just like the way that one fits. But again, there are some different necklines on this bodice, and there is a video, or actually a few videos on how to do different neckbands. So we're gonna match our shoulder seams, go to the front and the back, and quarter that neckband, or half it first, the neck, and then we're gonna quarter it, and we're gonna do the same for our neckband. Gonna fold our neckbands over that memory crease that we created earlier, and then we're gonna quarter it. Then we're just gonna match up those quarter points with our neckband and our bodice. Now we're gonna go sew all that up. All right, friends, and just like that, our bodice is completed. We've got those gorgeous bishop sleeves. I'm gonna pull out the basting stitch in a minute, and it is done. All I have to do now is continue to follow the steps for my staycation dress and finish it up. I'm just gonna do it on fast speed so we can finish it. If you want to see how I create that dress and take my time, there is a video for the actual staycation pattern. But I need your help with something. I only had enough floral fabric, this gorgeous double brush poly from August Closet. I only had enough to make like the peplum length, but I kind of wanted a dress. So I found this coordinating double brush poly that I could add to that bottom tier. So I want to know from you if I should just leave it as a peplum top, or if I should go ahead and do the whole dress option. So I'm gonna do the whole dress option, and you let me know below if I should trim it to just the peplum or if I should leave it as a dress. So let me know, I wanna know what you all think. But let's get going so we can finish this gorgeous dress and I can show you what it looks like. First, I'm gonna grab my skirts and I'm going to place them right sides together. I was going to do pockets on this pattern, but I decided since I am not sure if I'm going to do the peplum top, I am not going to add pockets because pockets are not added at the peplum length. It's only for the dress length because we don't want them to hang out at the bottom of the peplum. So I'm just going to go ahead and do no pockets, which will be fine with me. And if later on I want to add pockets, we can do that. And there is a video how to add pockets to a pattern with a side seam. So if you want to check that out, if you have some patterns or some dresses that do not have pockets and they have a side seam and you want to add a pocket to them, it's so easy. Go check out that video. So I'm going to sew those two sides of both layers. All right, I'm marking halves of my skirt and of my bodice. That way, when I go to gather it with my clear elastic, I know exactly where my halves are, and it makes it easier for gathering later. I will be using clear elastic for gathering. If you want a more detailed version on how to do the gathering with elastic, we do have a video here on our YouTube channel, so be sure to check that out. I like to use 1/4 inch clear elastic on this because that way it will be sewn into my seam. I measure my clear elastic, the width of my bodice, which is what I want to gather my skirt to, and then I mark it. You can cut it if you want, but I just like to mark it because I like to have extra for pulling on it or holding it. I also like to do a little dot on them in case when I remove my pins, I can still see exactly where my halves and where my quarters are. I will use the elastic to gather the top, and then attach the top tier to the bodice, and then I'm gonna measure my middle tier and use that measurement to gather my other one. All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and gather those tiers. And I'm using a zigzag stitch and I'm attaching it right to the edge of the fabric. Once it's started, I'm gonna go to my first 1/4 point and stretch out my elastic all the way to that first 1/4 point. Now we grab our bodice and we fit our first layer right sides together and that bodice matching those 1/4 points. And then we do the same for that bottom layer, and you can do one at a time if you want, but I find that clips are really good at keeping them together, so I actually go ahead and pin both of them at the same time and do them at the same time. And what I'll do is I'll use my serger and then I'll encase that clear elastic in my seam allowance. All right, friends, we are done with our hack. I love these sleeves, but honestly, I don't know that I love having the bottom part. I don't know, I think the green is throwing me off. I think it's a little bit much. But I am loving it. I think being a peplum top will be super cute. But I want you to let me know below what you think. Should I keep it as a dress, or should I go ahead and clip it as a peplum top? All right, friends, I threw on some jeans and tucked that green layer under to see what it would look like as a top. Tell me what you think. I think this is what I love. I think it looks super cute as a top. I think this would be gorgeous too as a full solid dress, but I think that the two tones of the fabric was just throwing me way off, and that's okay. Listen, I make mistakes all the time, choosing fabrics, choosing patterns to put together, all that sort of stuff. And that's okay, because that's how I learn and that's how I come up with something that I love. And I like to just try different things. So don't get discouraged if sometimes you try something and it doesn't quite look right. Go with your gut, and then you will be happy with the end results. So I think I'm gonna go with my gut, but I wanna listen from you all. So please let me know what you think. Should I chop it or leave the green below? Let me know, comment. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Please comment, like, share, subscribe if you haven't. Come follow us on Facebook or Instagram. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.